The Steam Workshop in Left 4 Dead 2 is home to literally everything you can think of. Anime, weapon skins, custom maps, more anime, HUDs, porn, survivor skins, even more anime. But the one category that gets judged the most is custom maps.
Holy shit.
There are some maps that are astonishing in both design and aesthetic. Maps like Buried Deep, Big Watt, Suicide Blitz, Daybreak, and Darkwood are all pretty good maps. And then there are maps that test my sanity and mental health. Maps such as literally every map this guy releases, every map this guy releases, and finally a map called Hometown. This map right here is probably the worst map I've ever played. Okay, maybe not the worst, but it comes close. Look, I'm not trying to be mean, but this map put me through hell to finish it. So you know what? I'm going to freely take my frustrations out on this map and dissect it
Piece by piece.
I'm going to tear this map to shreds and show you every piece of it. Okay, this map has 5 parts and an additional 3 optional parts. For this video, I installed everything to play the map. And by the way, why do these map creators always add random crap to the maps that always makes it worse? Like seriously, the 3 optional add-ons for this map literally replace all the guns with World War II weapons and makes them all worse. Why would you do that? If you're ever going to replace weapons in the game, at least have the decency to keep the weapon stats the same. Anyway, let's start with the campaign. This map actually has a pretty good start. It has a cool looking poster that gives you a feeling of uneasiness and a promising looking intro. That is, until the map gives you this message. The current version contains only chapters 1, 2, 5, and 6. Difficulty suggestions: single normal, multi advanced. Use your wisdom and map props. Bring team cooperation into play to survive. Instantly, the moment I saw this message, I already hated this map. Yeah, I hated the map. This message basically says, play on normal difficulty and bring a full team. That's just great.
Kiss my ass!
Yeah, screw the people who play solo and screw the people who play on expert. A good map would attend to all audiences. People who play with friends, people who play solo, people who play on expert. You don't design a map around one specific thing. Also, why would you even put this message here in the first place? Clearly this map creator doesn't have faith in the people who play his map, so he suggests that they play with friends and on normal difficulty. Now you guys see why I'm so worked up about this map. The survivors start in this hotel room and we get a full look at the first weapon replacement. The map creator had a problem with the standard pistol and decided to replace it with a revolver. This weapon actually isn't that bad, and it even has 6 bullets, which is a nice detail. But its accuracy is ass, and its firing speed is also ass. The Magnum is just straight up better in every way, so what's the point of adding this weapon to the game? And look at this shoving animation. He's not even shoving, he's just pulling the gun back and letting it back into place. There is a phone ringing next door and the survivors go to pick it up, but instead they get a message.
The subscriber you dialed is not connected for the moment. Please dial again later.
After listening to the message, the survivors decide to move out onto the streets, and the first zombie we run into is a mudman. Okay, why are there mudmen here? Do you guys see any mud in the city? I know I don't. So the survivors go on a road that is filled with a lot of traffic and zombies, and mudmen. One thing I can say about this map is that it looks nice. Buildings are falling apart and the cars on the road are very dusty and old. The survivors go across the road until they reach a roadblock and are forced to take an alternate route. So Nick leads the way and turns the corner, and there's suddenly a boomer! After clearing the horde, the survivors enter an alleyway, and then suddenly a horde ambushes them. One big problem about this scene is that it takes control away from the player, and that's fine as long as the player is put into God mode, because there are many maps that put you in a cutscene while you are being hit by zombies. After clearing the horde, with only pistols mind you, have I mentioned that this map didn't give us any starting weapons? The survivors continue through the alleyway until a tank?
You got no respect.
We literally just started the map and we don't have any weapons to kill the tank besides pistols. What does the map creator expect from us? Somehow we managed to kill the tank without losing anybody. I decided to pick up this melee because they're always better than pistols, and this revolver was just so bad I didn't want to use it anymore. And check this, an ammo pile with no weapons. The survivors go through alleyway after alleyway, invisible wall after invisible wall, until they find a safe house to bunker down and rest. Overall, this chapter is the best chapter in the campaign. It wasn't that bad, but trust me, this campaign is only going to get worse and worse and worse.
You got no respect.
After the survivors have healed up and rested, they decide to head back out onto the streets. Immediately after opening the door, we are greeted by an invisible wall with a red out of bounds sign. Wow, way to break the immersion. Why not just put actual props in the way that blocks the path? Also, mudmen are not very immersive here, and spamming them is not fun. There are more mudmen than regular zombies at this point. The survivors retrace their steps until they find yet another invisible wall with a red sign. I try to go left and head down the street until I find another invisible wall.
You think this is funny?
I like this map's aesthetic and graphics, but all of these invisible walls and mudmen are really killing the immersion here. Just saying. The survivors find a flare that is lit on the staircase and believe that there are people still alive in the city. They head upstairs and find some food and an assault rifle. Eating the food gives you more health, but the sound effect when you eat it is weird.
I have found my new.
What the hell is that sound? Is that how you eat your food? The weapon I picked up replaces the assault rifle, and I tested it on this mudman and the results were not good. So I went back to pick up my M60 only to find that Rochelle had already picked it up. Guess I'm stuck with this sorry excuse of a downgraded weapon. The survivors stumble upon a very destroyed area. Buildings are falling apart. There is smoke everywhere. This door opened by itself as if inviting me in. I feel that it might be a trap, so I tell the other survivors to wait here. As soon as I entered the room, the door closed behind me and music started playing. Then suddenly, the room started falling apart. The game instructs me to jump on this table and I make the jump. But then I saw for a split second that Bill fell down. So I jumped down to rescue him, only to find that I end up in this room with a strange message. What the hell was that? Wait, I want to see that again. Wow, does the map creator really think that it's frightening to me?
Kiss my ass!
Anyway, what I'm supposed to do now is parkour over the destroyed buildings. I shoot this propane tank to lower a plank for me to cross until I hear a phone ringing behind me. I picked it up and... oh, guess I missed the jump scare, huh? Finally, after making it across, the game instructs me with finding 5 gas cans. Easier said than done because this charger just single-handedly killed 2 survivors. Thankfully, Francis had a defib and revived Ellis, so at least we're still in the game. The map spams special infected here for some reason. There is this gas can on the roof and I go to collect it. But it wasn't going to be that easy, was it? The map spawns like 10 hunters, like what? Imagine playing this with 4 survivors. This stunt the map creator makes will catch you off guard on your first run. This gas can is a beginner's trap and you can't avoid it. My advice is to get on this roof and pray to God you can kill all the hunters.
You got no respect.
3 gas cans down, 2 more to go. Alright, I got the 5 gas cans, now it's time to clear a path forward. I shoot the gas can and it summons a horde, of course. A very long horde, mind you. So long that we end up losing Bill, and the whole party ends up going down at this point. I was starting to wonder if the horde was ever going to end, but thankfully, it ended before we lost anyone else. The amount of mudmen is insane. It doesn't even make sense. There is no mud here. After we barely fight that horde off, the survivors head through the burnt path. A random zombie disappears in front of my eyes, and then I end up finding a safe house. Thank God. This chapter was worse than the last one. There was a stupid amount of mudmen, a stupid amount of hunters, a stupid jump scare that wouldn't even scare my dog, and a stupid horde that lasted 2 minutes. all while the map has given us terrible weapons and supplies. Does this warrant playing on normal? No, because I am playing this map on Realism, Expert, Solo, and I am getting by. Next chapter. The chapter starts with a cutscene showing the shelter the survivors stayed in until daytime. After the sun comes up, the survivors resume their journey out of the city after I kill this charger and smoker with this shitty gun. Whoa, that was close. I spot my favorite melee weapon and go to pick it up. I then spot floating medkits and ammo, but I'm not complaining. We need the supplies after the beating we took in the last chapter. I finally find a throwable, and
Turns out
they replaced the pipe bomb with a regular German stick grenade. Cool, but it makes no sense because when you throw the grenade, it still has the ticking pipe sound. We go down the road killing zombies with ease until we find another roadblock. The only way to go is up this hill. There is still an abundance of mudmen, but at this point I just didn't care anymore. Oh, that looks like quite the job, doesn't it? It's the only way to proceed forward, so I take a leap of faith and make it without taking any fall damage. The bots, however, well, that's a different story. A tank spawns at the most inconvenient time in the most inconvenient place. There are cars around and we're still recovering from the bots breaking their legs. I attempted to throw a Molotov, but the tank was running at an angle, so I missed.
this is big brain time.
Zoe takes a beating from the tank, but I barely saved her. That second pound would have killed her for sure. After killing the tank, we gather our bearings and continue down the road until yet another tank spawns, this time behind us. There is a pretty long jump we have to make here, and the tank is cornering us. We were forced to jump across, and I prayed that all the bots could make the jump without problems. And just like that, the entire team was shattered and down. It was up to me now to finish this chapter. Nobody was gonna help me if I was in trouble. It's a totally different feeling when your whole team dies and you're by yourself, especially with 8 survivors. I didn't give up just yet. I had a bottle jar, pills, and an axe in my inventory. I had faith that I could finish this chapter, so I continued on and left the bots. I even hear Ellis cheering me on and telling me to run. I throw my bottle jar, climb the scaffolding, and continue my way down the road. A huge boulder drops down and blocks my way. I'm forced to take an alternate route. It looks like the zombies have caught up to me. I chop my way through and barely get away. I had to use my pills though. For a second, it looked like I was actually going to make it. I could see the bright sun at the end of the tunnel. That was until I saw him again. I try to dodge him, but he can hit this truck, resulting in my death. What the hell? 3 tanks. 1 isn't enough, apparently, and neither is 2.
You got no respect.
And these tanks wouldn't be so bad if we weren't in such a bad position. There are always cars around for the tanks to hit, and the space isn't that open. Okay, so I got my first game over, but I'm not quitting now. I traversed through the level with a shotgun this time, except this shotgun has a very widespread crosshair and only 4 bullets in its magazine.
You son of a bitch!
God, what is wrong with you, map creator? First, I'm going to warp the bots down this hill, then we're going to kill the tanks before they could cause us harm. We're all going to make this jump, except Ellis, kill the horde, and then finally kill the final tank. It wasn't easy though. The tank made full use of the cars near him and downed 5 survivors at once.
Now that's a lot of damage!
But we finally took him down before he could do any more harm. We recovered and continued on our journey. We end up finding some military presence here, so we decide to take another break before we embark on our final chapter to end this campaign. Like I said, the chapters only get worse and worse, and it's not the difficulty that I'm complaining about, guys. It's just all the beginner traps this map throws at you in an unfair manner. 10 hunters, an infinite horde with 75% mudmen, 3 tanks in the span of 3 minutes. If we had more throwables or more healing, this would be bearable, but the map doesn't even give us that. Now let's move on to the final chapter of this campaign. And if you still don't believe me about this map's terrible design and beginner traps, you're about to, because this next chapter overuses 1 Specific, infected. After the survivors have rested, they head out and continue down the road, hoping to find the military. We find a destroyed bridge, which could mean that the military has been here recently. After clearing out the remaining infected on the bridge, I found an AK-47, except it only has 30 bullets instead of 40. It also has a higher recoil, and I swear its accuracy is worse than the original.
You little son of a bitch.
Okay, now the map creator is just being an asshole. The AK is my favorite weapon, and he just nerfed it to all hell for no reason. The survivors find a radio and try to contact the military for extraction. They end up getting a response and are told to hold out for 10 minutes. Now, in a normal finale, it doesn't actually take 10 minutes. It just takes 2 hordes and 2 tanks to finish a normal finale. That usually takes about 5 to 6 minutes. However, this map actually took the 10 minutes quite literally. Well, guess what? If the map creator is not going to respect me, I have no problem with cheating, but I didn't. I managed to beat this ridiculous finale without any cheats. Alright, I'm done beating around the bush. Let me tell you why this finale has got me so worked up. First of all, this finale sends 7 tanks at you. Yeah, you heard me right, 7 tanks. If you were playing with 4 players, you would not stand a chance. If you were playing on expert, you would not stand a chance. If you were the average Left 4 Dead 2 player, which makes up most of the Left 4 Dead 2 player base, you would not stand a chance. If you're cracked like me, then you might stand a chance. Let's do a full run through of the finale. It starts normally with just a horde and some special infected. They don't cause any problems. And then the first tank comes and we deal with him easily. After that, the next horde starts, except there are a few more zombies than the last. Still, we deal with them pretty easily. Now here comes the next tank, or should I say 2 tanks. But the 2 tanks weren't that big of a deal. We camped on the scaffolding and gunned down the tanks before they could really get to us. At this point, I thought the map was over. We dealt with the 2 hordes and the 2 tank encounters. But no. Instead, we are greeted by a helicopter dropping us supplies instead of actually rescuing us. Wow, what an asshole. But at least he gave us something. After killing yet another horde of zombies, we deal with the final tank encounter. And get this, the map spawns 4 tanks at once. Whenever a map creator pulls a stunt like this, I usually just type in God mode and call it a day, because the map creator clearly had no respect for the player, and if the map doesn't respect me, I don't respect the map, which results in me cheating. Do you expect me to feel bad? And this whole finale takes 10 minutes, which means if you fail, you have to do it all over again. This is why this map is terrible. No respect for the player, awful map design, and no bot friendliness. You may have noticed that I didn't really talk about the bots that much. It's because I had many useful tools to ensure that the bots didn't just die. The way that this map is designed will make the bots die because they don't have proper pathing. Remember the area with the parkour? Or the long jump? Hell, even in the finale, their pathing is still messed up. The bots just don't shoot the zombies here, and instead go down for no reason. This map was just designed for the player who has a full party and has 2,000 hours in the game. If you don't meet those criterias, you're gonna have a bad time. But why though? Why spawn 4 tanks knowing full well that the survivors can't deal with it? Especially with the nerfed weapons we have and the lack of Molotovs. Now, I did manage to beat it without cheating, but I get the feeling I only beat it because of 8 survivors and the bot add-ons that I have. If I was just playing this map normally with only 4 players and no other add-ons, I wouldn't win. Because even if I did, the map pulls one last stunt as a parting gift. If you somehow manage to kill the 4 tanks, you will be greeted with this message: use the radio on the Hummer, hurry up. So after killing 7 tanks, the map asks you to run into the incoming horde and interact with the radio that takes a million years to finish. Oh, and there are even more tanks in case the 7 wasn't enough. You better pray that you have saved a bottle jar here. After interacting with the radio, we have to head back and make it onto the truck. I decided to stay and help the bots because without them, I wouldn't have been able to beat this map. We all make it to the escape with no one left behind. The truck drives off and ends the campaign. Well, there you have it. The problem with this map was that it didn't respect the player. Now, this isn't the worst map I've ever played. At least it had decent graphics and a very moody aesthetic. It's just those things don't really matter when the design of the map is utterly dull. I'll say it in a nicer manner. Map design is the most important part to making a good map. Is that better? I hope so, because there have been many more custom maps out there that do the exact same thing, not respecting the player. I've had enough. I've played so many custom maps, and sometimes it just becomes too much. I just want to be respected. Is that too much to ask? Thanks for watching, and map creator, if you're watching this, and if you're still interested in making custom maps, make another map. But all you need to do is one simple thing. Respect the player.
You got no respect.
No respect.
Now get out.